everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower.
And it's Marisa Acocella. Hey, everybody.
What time is it, Marisa?
It's Divine Mother Earth time, Laura.
That's right. This is our first episode together.
I'm so excited about this. So our show is about the Divine Mother,
the divine feminine path and the galactic history behind like how this planet became Mother Earth and just what these times are all about and our reconnection to the mother and how important that is. We have just so much to dive into and discuss. It's just going to be, incredible. I mean, this show is dedicated to the mother, the divine mother, Mother Earth, all the divine mothers out there, and the fathers that support the mothers, that have the mother energy within them, and getting back in touch with their own inner divine feminine. It's all about the sacred union and the integration of polarity and the awakening of our dormant DNA, but the attention on the mothers, because it's been quite a dark history and a lot of things that have happened throughout history that have really not helped us to really understand just the story of the mother and this planet and the Sophia energy and everything. And this is what really brought us together, right?
So in fact, when I was actually writing my book, The Big Shebang, which is about the mother and about Sophia and about our history of the planet, our history of humanity, our own divinity, where we come from, your name kept coming up. When I was doing my research, I kept seeing Laura Eisenhower, Laura Eisenhower. And whenever I saw your name, it was like the letters were backlit and light was literally beaming out of your name right directly towards me. So I had to ask myself, who is this woman? So Laura Eisenhower, I need to ask you a few questions. First of all, you're an Eisenhower, Laura Eisenhower. What's your connection with Ike? And I mean, do you feel his presence? And have you always felt his presence? Has he guided you throughout your life? So what's the story?
I really feel we had just a strong agreement, and it just amazes me the synchronicities that have happened in my life that have, really, validated that. It really started at a young age when I was feeling his presence, and so many downloads were kind of coming in, and realizing I was in this family that was a family with a well-known name, person who's been president, who was a general of the Second World War. Just seeing just all this, growing up, I was just processing so much. So much was coming through to me, and I was very much being prepared at a young age for this particular window period. A lot of people who know my story might have heard that I was recruited to go off planet in 2006. And
yeah, and what do you think stopped you from doing that? Why do you think you were recruited?
Yeah, there was like a pre-targeting, because what I've come to discover is President Eisenhower was in contact with star beings that told him that a descendant would be born to bring about the truth that he wasn't able to share. And it was written in a book, and this book was handed to me, and it's connected to the Dakota star beings and a migration of advanced souls coming in, and that one would be given to the family so that the truth would be known, because a lot of false narratives and a lot of lies and a lot of distortions and everything he warned us about in his final speech would be, almost too much, that, that there would be a gift to the family. And this is written in a book, everybody. So this book was handed to me by an American woman, and it says all of this about this military man that like took seriously what these star beings were saying. And so when I was recruited to go to Mars, one of the people that defected from, or just was giving me sort of inside information, said that, well, I was aware that you were going to be born, and they used looking glass technologies, and they were, kind of pre-targeting you before you were born, knowing that you would come in, that they wanted to divert me in a completely different direction, to go to Mars instead of be here to reveal greater truths about what really happened in his administration. And that these artificial timelines and a lot of these false narratives are attempting to hijack. So over
it's
time it'll
interesting
make
that you
more sense to
realize,
people, you know,
uh-huh.
but that's kind of our connection. That's why I think there was such a strong presence with him coming in and
Mhm.
why I felt so strong about a mission.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting that the hijacking of the narrative is also kind of like the hijacking that almost happened with you. You know, they almost hijacked you onto Mars because your statement and what you were about to put forth in the world was so strong they wanted to move you off planet because they didn't want you on this one. They didn't want you on this planet.
Yeah, it has a lot.
And
Go ahead.
yeah. And then because going back to Ike and his famous speech at the end of his um at the end of his presidency, his farewell speech, where he warned us about the military and industrial complex. Even before that, when Val Thor was at the Pentagon for 3 years, and he actually came to meet Ike. That was the reason why he came, to meet Ike and warn humanity and help humanity. And he had technology that could free us from disease, death, and illness, and that could all be obliterated. But the military just wanted the technology to be the dominant superpower of the world. So Ike went to the government and tried to save the planet and save humanity, and the government didn't want to hear anything about it. And he also went to the UN, who also didn't want to hear anything about it. So then he made that speech. So Laura, really what you're doing right now is, that speech was a battle cry, and right now you're taking up the mantle. He's passed you the baton, and this is a time now where it's either the make or break humanity time. It's like, this is where we make our critical choice. Which way are we going to go? And that's why when they saw you in the looking glass technology, they wanted you off planet.
Yeah.
So when you,
Mhm.
yeah, so when you experience downloads from him, like what kind of messages do you get?
Well, I was just really feeling into when I was on my quest for truth that if I was running into distortions or disinformation that, I was just, it's almost like he's like a part of my intuition. It's like, no, dig deeper. There's more to look for. There's more to look at because, you're kind of growing up and hearing rumors about the Greada Treaty and ET government treaties and this and that. And the fact that like I was really feeling into a larger sort of mission that is connected to bringing about the truth, connected to his administration, but also about the mother energy and the restoration of the planetary grid network and the anchoring of the mother arc energy and the just the Sophianic sort of story of humanity waking up, and how the military industrial complex and his warning was really wanting to hijack that. We see, characters like him who they wanted to interrupt in his quest to take down the Nazis. And, like all of us that, are censored and blocked and all the obstacles that we're thrown. And then, yeah, me being recruited to go off planet, to like prevent me from doing this work here, which would not only reveal things that these false narratives are covering up, but also to stop a lot of the other kind of information that many of us are bringing. So who knows, right? Yeah, it's not. I don't want people to think that there's some complex of like, oh, like there's something special about me, but it's like this is something within all of us. This is something about our divine blueprint. This is something about our human potential. And in just having this relationship with him that spans just many, many lifetimes, that, it's this greater kind of guardian force or just kind of like intention to restore this planet and our sovereignty and our freedom and get out of this like inverted matrix reversal system that is really harming humanity and our future generations. And so it's all very connected and it's all very wild because I was processing so much about that soul journey, and it's just when I saw the connection to this sort of off planet kind of like other kind of stuff and things that took place in his administration and everything that he set up that we're going to talk about. He was advised by Val Thor after the Second World War, which wasn't really won. And then he set up all the positive military. So for him to take the blame of selling us out to the Greys, that's a false narrative that I've needed to crush. And they don't want that kind of information out. That's why it's been so hard to share. And so, you know, the minute I met you, it's just like this concept of like creating this show was birthed because you've been on such a journey, you know, and it's just been about like healing the energy surrounding the mother, right? And just this affinity that we have, we like immediately just clicked. Like it's like we've known each other forever. So
The first time we were on the phone, we literally clicked, and we're like, I knew this was like somebody from like my soul group. I feel like you're my sister. I have such a huge connection to you. I want to get back to something you said. Okay, first of all, the greater theory and the misconceptions about that. And like, we know that Ike didn't sell us out. He created the white hats. He also, didn't he raid one of the underground bases?
Yeah,
he did that.
Dulce, there's
Dulce, yeah.
Dulce, and he tried to invade Area 51. And he set up the Earth Alliance, Ikes Force. I mean, there's so many things. And so
he set up the white hats.
Yeah, well, he seeded that. Yeah. And then it began to, you know, kind of grow, and same with the Earth Alliance. But these are all things that he like put in motion, because an unconditional surrender agreement took place in 1952 under Truman. And so that was the ultimate, you know, surrender to the Nazi Draco alliance, right? So this Greada Treaty stuff and the abduction stuff that had been started in the 1930s, under Roosevelt's administration. Abductions were already happening. Selling out humans for abductions was like, you know, and this goes way back too. I mean, if we look at our greater galactic history, so these false narratives that are still being steered to this day, and I get mail all the time, and I know comments to probably under this video of like, your great grandfather did this and did that. It's like, my path has been about like, exploring that, not negating that, and but having to question it, and then realizing that, oh my gosh, there's more above top secret information than this. And even the whistleblowers that thought that they were exposing, you know, this Greada Treaty that Eisenhower signed, there's more information, and that actually MJ12 did it behind his back. So, you know,
starting
a lot of attacks on him and this lineage, but you know, the same thing is, it's just like, it's a family. It's like, you know, he's not into the structure of government. It's about all us, you know, souls that are mission oriented, that are just ready to just like be done with this social engineering and war on consciousness and spiritual warfare and false flags and psyops and all of that. And so you and I, between the two of us, we have a lot to unpack, and that's what this show is all about. And it's a reconnection.
We totally do.
Be the healing antidote to all this, you know?
Well, yeah. So the thing is, right, everything you just said, and about the misconceptions and about the false narratives and about how we were sold out to the negative alien agenda in the 40s, in the 30s, the whole Nazi like Fourth Reich that is going on now.
And the manipulations, and landing cataclysms, and just the planetary network. It's been impacted for like 26,000 years. It's like in reversal, you know, energies. It's just like, you know, there's such
our junk DNA. Yeah. So, but the thing is, this is where we come in. Where do we go from here? How do we save ourselves and the planet? Because what time is it? It is Divine Mother Earth time.
That's right.
Right. That's right. So what do? We've got to, where do we go?
Everything, like how we can like heal from this just trauma and this betrayal. You know, I mean, the people like us, okay, we've known about this, but what about the people that are just kind of waking up, that feel that they've gone down that trajectory, and now they're starting to understand, whoops, okay, now I see it. Now, like, how can I reverse this? You know, so we're going to bring on, you know, all kinds of people, like powerful women, doctors, you know, and honoring the divine masculine and the father force of the planet. It's really like everything about healing, integration of polarity, upgrading our DNA, coming together, having these greater conversations, providing resources, so that we really, you know, can begin to look forward to embracing a beautiful future. Because we're finding the solutions. We're a part of the medicine. We're a part of the organic ascension timeline. We're a part of the trajectory of what Mother Earth wants for us, as she's nurturing us with her unconditional love to begin to wake up and remember who we truly are. So we're not captured by this dark parent and authority that is abusing us, you know?
Exactly. So the thing is, it's like our goal, right, is to move on to the good timeline, the ascension timeline, where humanity evolves and becomes who we were always meant to be. From the very beginning, realizing our divine blueprint, reconnecting to our dormant DNA and experiencing our own divinity and becoming the consciousness, connected to consciousness, and becoming the full, true humans we were meant to be, as realized by consciousness, Mother, Father, God, and Sophia, who basically, as we know, we talk about Sophia a little bit, but Sophia was a wisdom goddess that fell for whatever reason from the pleroma from the heavens and gave birth to Yaldabaoth and embodied the spirit, embodied Mother Earth. So she's both celestial and terrestrial. And from that timeline, then came Adam and Eve were the blueprint, the divine anthropos. And there's where the divine and conquer humanity master plan started, because that pit literally man against woman with when Eve bit the apple and the whole serpent story. So, but we've been under the whole divine and conquer humanity master plan from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And we see it everywhere.
There've been more seedings than just the Genesis story too. It's like when we look at the Taurus system and the 5D higher harmonic universe, where Tiamat was, when Tiamat exploded, that's really when the Sophia energy and the Akamoth and just the dropping into this lower harmonic universe, really happened. And there were, root races and seedings of humans with that, kind of Adam and Eve, template way before, the one that we hear about. And to go like so far back into our galactic history, the Lyran Wars, the Orion Wars, and Tiamat exploding, and then Maldek being sort of a counterpart to the Earth that ended up exploding, and then all that came in from then, and the Atlantean cataclysms, Lemurian Holocaust, it's like when this planet was created, the 7 root races, starting with Polaris, Hyperborea, and then the Atlantis, Lemuria, that's really when it's just like what had exploded, and the template of our 12-strand DNA and avatar consciousness that was broken apart and fragmented apart. The divine feminine has been reintegrating all these pieces, because the Tiamat planet was a Sophionic planet. So we're all carrying different pieces as a humanity, and we're supposed to come together. Our differences are supposed to harmonize together to rebuild that 12-strand DNA structure again. And it's very much about, like if we look at the tree of life, that's our DNA. Tree of knowledge would be in that duality. And in duality, we're very easily manipulated by archons. And that's where they use that mother energy to birth these kind of archonic energies. And so, that Yaldabaoth energy is very much, the demiurgic energy. But at the same time, it's kind of held us in this process of soul growth, going through amnesia, going through kind of like separation to be rediscovered and reawakened and returned. And that's awakening that within ourselves and reminding ourselves.
So do you think, it's kind of interesting how all these myths and mythology are all connected, and they all basically say the same thing, like Tiamat, Sophia, and then Yaldabaoth, the Archon, right? And to me, like Yaldabaoth, like the Archons, they're the AI god, because they're just they're actual copycats, like, of who we really are. They're not human, they're AI, and there's nothing original in them. They're just imitation.
And that's why they want to trick us out of ourselves and take our energy in order to create this sort of artificial timeline, so that they have the power and we're disempowered. And that's what these technologies do. They siphon and harvest the energy. And so, the Dark Mother reversal energies and everything about the Satanism is all tied into that. And so this is what we're healing. And the Venus transits have been correcting it, all these planetary alignments. What this window period is all about is about correcting that. And that's why it's Divine Mother Earth time, because that's what we need to talk about. And if, we can stand in alignment with that, we can begin to really, really heal and step into a higher Earth energy.
Yeah, I think that the real reason why humanity is under assault is because we are above them. Once we step into our divinity and reconnect to our 12-strand DNA and recognize who we really are, humanity is a great creator race. And that's why they want to keep us down. That's why they want to take our souls away from us. They want to disconnect us from our souls. That's why they want to disconnect us away from consciousness, and want us to plug ourselves into the Borg. That's the whole transhuman agenda, which is really what everything we're going through is about.
Yeah. The Black Sun agenda and the Sons of Belial, I mean, their compromised DNA doesn't give them a direct connect with source. So they can't, so they want to just be like the controllers and dumb us down and scramble the DNA and call it junk DNA so that we don't explore our galactic heritage and the fullness of all that we are. And that's what all the programmings and the social engineering and indoctrination and psyops and false flags are all designed to do, is to just keep us in this like forgetfulness place. And really it's just like we're just really like resolving a galactic war that goes, way back. We have that spark. So if you put that spark within all of us to awaken to the fullness of all that we are, and all these, grail lines and angelic lines and all this and that, like, are here on the planet. They're very, very targeted and not like encouraged in the school systems. It's all set up to really just hijack and sabotage, and we're not going to allow that.
We're not. I mean, they want to extinguish our spark. I can remember when I was like 5 years old and going to Catholic school and hearing that, that God created all of this. And I always thought, well, how could a male God give birth to all this? And it was always interesting to me how they took out the mother. And even like the Council of Nicaea, they took out any reference of the mother. And then you find out that the Holy Spirit was really the mother, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's the female energy. That's the mother energy. And once you realize that when we took out the mother, that what we're going through really makes so much sense, because the mother is compassion, it's love, and that's what they want to take away from us. They want us to be inhuman. They look at the assault on women right now. It's all the same thing. It's like if they don't get you one way, they'll get you another way.
Yeah, and
that's why this is
right. And without that bond, without the love of the mother, we can't thrive. And that's just, we know that based in nature. And so the patriarchal agenda is actually tied into the negative alien agenda. And it's not so much about, men just being the patriarch. It's like where, both have been impacted, the feminine energies, the masculine energies, men, going off into war, men only being, the priests or the presidents, and just the power of the women has just been very suppressed, obviously, right? But then you see feminist movements that are sometimes not fully addressing the real issue, because it's not like women need to be, come men and like prove themselves. It's just like we just have to get back to ourselves and just be authentic and just see like where are the ancestral patterns, what are the programs, what are the distortions, just so that you can really be yourself, because you're going to have all different types. You're going to have, men that are really in touch with their inner feminine and are very feminine. You're going to have women that are really in touch with their inner masculine, and some might not be. We all have different personalities. We all have different natures. So we don't have to try and mold ourselves based in an outer movement or a conditioning, which they're trying to do to our children right now. It's really just getting back to ourselves and just knowing what our soul is telling us, and being in touch with our intuition and our creative expression and our authenticity and our truth, so that whatever body we've given, we can just be all that we are, because we have both masculine and feminine within ourselves. We have to integrate those polarities, but we're not going to express it all in the same way. You know, there's
Mhm.
attributes that are shared, but this, of course, there's differences too, but you know, in the physiology of it all. But you know, just so much of what we're seeing is just trying to confuse and disrupt this organic, you know, connection. You know, disease and illness and adversity can get us closer to ourselves. And it's just so leveraged and taken advantage of, as much as just us feeling into both sides of, you know, our inner masculine and feminine, and how they take advantage of that by making it more confusing and more difficult for people to just accept, you know, just loving yourself and your body and who you truly are. There should be no outer indoctrination. There should just be only guidance and listening to the voices of our children instead of shoving stuff in their faces, right?
I totally agree with you. It's also interesting too, like when you think back at like Mary Magdalene and Jesus and like sacred sex, and they talk about the snakes, you know, going up the chakras, and it's a male and a female snake, and both of us, we have both of them, the divine male and the divine feminine in all of us. So, but to basically just, I mean, do what's going on with children. I mean, that is,
Yeah,
I think what you're saying is absolutely right. We should just let people be who they are.
totally. I just almost
Yeah.
want to just share this one thing. And this is from the Essene Gospel of Peace. Your mother is in
Hmm.
you and you in her. She bore you. She gives you life. It was she who gave to you your body, and to her shall you one day give it back again. Happy are you when you come to know her and her kingdom. If you receive your mother's angels and if you do her laws, I tell you truly, he who does these things shall never see disease. For the power of our mother is above all, and it destroys Satan and his kingdom and has rule over all of your bodies and living things. The blood which runs in us is born of the blood of our earthly mother. Her blood falls from the clouds, leaps up from the womb of the earth, babbles in the brooks of the mountains, flows wide in the rivers of the plains, sleeps in the lakes, rages mightily in tempestuous seas. So that's, you know, the teachings of the Essenes. So where did that all go, right? You know, it's like,
Well, okay, that's beautiful what you just read to us. And I mean, it went away with the Council of Nicaea. And when they tried to get rid of the mother there. Early on in Paleolithic times, there was like, you know, the whatchamacallit, Venus of Willendorf. I have her in a candle right here. I mean, there were fertility goddesses. The women were revered. Like I said, you know, the divine and conquer humanity master plan with Adam and Eve. Eve was the doctor who was the woman who basically blew, according to the Gnostics, blew life, breathed life into Adam. She was like, in baseball, she was like the star player. So what do? You take down the star player, you take down divine Eve, and that's what they did. That's what the Gnostics said happened. So, I mean, there's all these different stories, all these different mythologies that have taken place on this planet. Like if you look at Noah, he's got a million different names, and every single all these different countries have different flood myths. So there's all these different stories, but somehow they all link up. And
yeah,
and then you talked about, right? You talked about Atlantis, like 26,000 years ago. What happened there? Did they blow themselves up? Did something happen? But were they doing experiments where like they grafted animals with humans? I mean, were they playing God? Is that part of it? Were there dark sorcerers like there are now? I mean, it's kind of like interesting how history kind of repeats itself,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and we're gonna have some interesting guests on that have written a lot about, you know, times in Atlantis, and I know it's gonna just bring up a lot in us, and even, you know, just the
Mhm.
viewers. It's like, you know, all these different mythologies exist within us. We are the inheritors
Mhm.
of even the pantheon energies and their dysfunctions, right? When you think about Hades and you think about Zeus and you think about all these different archetypes and you think about um I just feel we reconcile them within ourselves, and through understanding things like astrology and tarot and all these different archetypes, we can see just how are those energies working within us. Because if we have our biological parents, but we have also just the parents of the world, right? And these lower creator gods, Anunnaki kind of lower creator gods, and these kind of pantheon energies, and the way that they've influenced us, and the way these mythologies have influenced us, exists within our soul. And so I really feel that the strongest way to just connect, though, is that the cycles of Mother Earth, going from winter to spring, to summer to fall, and just that whole cycle, and just really connecting, with the earth, is just a way to process and purge and like move through these initiations. Because we can dive into all that, and people are probably going to write in the comments like, okay, they're saying this and that, but I heard this and that, and it's different from what you said. So we're all probably not going to agree on some of these, stories, but these stories just need to be told, because we're just having a greater conversation for you to find what resonates within you to be a part of this greater dialogue. But when it really comes down to it, it's like, here we are in present time, and we need to get in touch with what is helping to advance us, purify us, clear us, and align us, as there is a kind of a bifurcation happening right now.
Yeah. And also, like, I have questions. Like, I would like to know where we came from. Do I have all the answers? No. Do I have a lot of questions? Oh, yeah.
Same.
And we're going to be asking those questions, right?
And bring
that's
all
part of
kinds
the fun.
like cool guests on that will, create these kind of dialogues. And, we can have roundtables, but it is divine Mother Earth time, and it's been time for a long time. It's been too long. So,
right. And you know what? Go ahead.
No, you.
So I was just going to say, yeah, it is divine Mother Earth time. And, going back to what happened with Atlantis 26,000 years ago, right? Now is the time to take control and win that war that we never really won before. This is our time. This is divine Mother Earth time. This is divine human time.
It is.
So let's go.
Yeah. And we don't want the technology, just like we don't want to attach ourselves to false narratives and technology saving the day, or anybody saving the day. We have to really, we're here for soul development and spiritual development. We have to face the things that we might not want to face, but we can feel into the unconditional love of the mother and the guardian protection of the, father, and just how, the feminine is the Christed energy just as much as the Christ was. And this divine blueprint of the Christ-Sophia within us, that, it's like we've seen so much, we've experienced so much as souls, and it's time to not get dumber and more slowed down and more in fear. It's a time to just recapture everything and ask ourselves, what have we learned, this whole way through? So you and I, between the two of us, have a lot of information, but we're going to bring in a lot of people that are going to provide so much that we're going to dialogue about. And so this is our first show, Marisa.
I know, Laura, and I'm so happy to be asking the questions and navigating through these challenging but really exciting times with you and with everybody here.
And you've written 2 extraordinary books, and you've been on an incredible journey. And I really want to dedicate show 2 for me asking you questions, so that you guys get to know us a little bit and you get to know her a little bit more. It's just, amazing the way we came together. She just did a presentation for my friend Jillian, who has a very rare form of breast cancer, and you've been on that journey, and it's really been about healing, in that connection with the mother energy. And you're a cartoonist, you're just such a brilliant mind, and you've just accomplished so much. And you wrote the big shebangs, and you're just really bringing attention to the mother. And I was just so thrilled when I meant something to you, or I just like inspired you, or like you felt this connection with me, because I immediately just felt such an admiration and love for you. And I'm really glad we're doing this.
I'm so glad we're doing this. Well, Laura, like I said, when I was doing research for the big shebang and researching like the mother energy and archetypes, your name kept coming up. And this is just such a thrill to be working with you. And I just love everything you say. And I love your mind. And I just think together we're going to be asking a lot of questions, and we're going to be discovering things, and we're going to be sharing a lot. And I just think we're going to be going on an incredible journey. And I hope, and I look forward to meeting everybody and everybody going on this journey with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so excited. All right. Well, we'll see you next time on Divine Mother Earth Time.
Woohoo!